Good afternoon, folks. This afternoon's topic I have a little speech I made for you, and it's about heat stroke for elderly folks. Okay, so I'm going to go through my speech. Please enjoy. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here, and thank you for caring about the safety of the older adults in our community. As temperatures rise across Pennsylvania, heat is becoming one of the most dangerous and most underestimated public health threats we face. Heat stroke doesn't begin with collapse, it begins with a sorry. The body tells us quietly in small details we often overlook. Today, I want to teach you how to recognize those early signs because they are the difference between a preventable emergency and a tragedy. Okay? The story begins subtly. On a hot July afternoon, an older adult wakes in, into a house that never cooled overnight. The air feels thick, unmoving. They stand from the recliner and pause just a beat too long. Their hand reaches for the wall. They walk into the kitchen and forget why. They say they're just tired, but the tiredness feels different, heavier, unfamiliar. These moments matter. They are the earliest clues that the body is overheating, clues that appear hours before the crisis. We all imagine when we hear the word heat stroke. Heat stroke begins quietly. Our, our attention must begin early. The brain speaks first. The very first organ affected by rising core temperature is the brain. Long before the skin dries or the pulse races, thinking begins to blur. Look for mild confusion, trouble finding words, irritability or agitation, and not quite themselves quality. These early cognitive changes are not normal aging. They are heat injury in progress. They are the body's first alarm, and they are easy to miss unless you know what you're looking for. The body's balance wavers. Heat affects coordination early. The cerebellum, the part of the brain responsible for balance, is extinguishingly sensitive to rising temperature. Watch for wobbling, slower walking, holding on to furniture, a sudden need to steady themselves. This unsteady gait is not fatigue. It is the brain overheating. The heart begins to race. As the body overheats, blood is shunted toward the skin in a desperate attempt to cool. The heart compensates by beating faster. A pulse feels a pulse that feels too fast for the situation is an early psychological alarm. This rapid pulse means the body is struggling to cool itself. In older adults, especially those with heart disease, this strain can escalate quickly. Heat stroke does not start with dry skin. Early on, the skin may be flushed, warm, drenched with sweat, or drenched in sweat. The dangerous turning point is when sweat suddenly stops. This cessation of sweating means the body's cooling system has failed. It is one of the most important signs to recognize. The gut falters. Heat reduces blood flow to the gut. Nausea, especially during a heat wave, is an early sign of trouble. This heat related nausea should never be ignored. It is often the first symptom an older adult will mention. When heat stroke turns serious, by the time someone collapses, slurs speech, slurs their speech, or becomes severely confused, their core temperature may already be above 104, a level at which organs begin to fail. Heat stroke is a medical emergency. Call for help immediately if severe symptoms appear. But remember, the crisis begins long before collapse. The earliest signs are subtle, and they are the ones that save lives. What you can do right now: move the person to a cooler place, offer water if they can drink, apply cool cloths to the neck, armpits, and groin, loosen clothing, stay with them, call for medical help if symptoms worsen. Early recognition saves lives. Your attention can save a neighbor, a parent, a patient, or a friend. The deeper truth: heat stroke is not just a medical event, it is a social one. It reveals who has air conditioning, who has transportation, who has someone checking in, and who is isolated. Older adults survive heat waves not because they are resilient, but because someone noticed, someone cared, someone recognized the story the body was telling. Today you become that someone. Heat stroke begins quietly. Our attention must begin early. If we recognize the earliest signs, if we check in, intervene, and care, we can prevent